Welcome back to the Nerdy Grail, and this is the second video in my Marvel Steelbook Collection videos. In the first video, I did an entire MCU Steelbook Collection, going from Iron Man all the way up to Deadpool and Wolverine, and I said that there'll be more videos coming in the future, and this is going to be the next one for my Marvel Steelbooks. I thought, since we recently, about a week ago, had the release of Kraven the Hunter on Blu-ray, on 4K, and on Steelbook, I thought now's the right time for me to do my Sony Spider-Man Universe Steelbook Collection, whatever they're calling it. Let's be real, it was a bit of a train wreck. Behind me, you can see the rest of the films in their regular format. So I've got Venom 1, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and Venom The Last Dance all on 4K. I've then got Morbius and Madam Web on regular Blu-ray, as well as the regular Blu-ray edition of Kraven the Hunter. But I know that's not what we're here for. We're here to see the Steelbooks. And I do have every single Sony Spider-Man Universe movie on Steelbook. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you my Steelbooks, and I'm going to give you my brief thoughts on each of the movies, and just what I think of the universe as a whole. But I think we can all agree it was a bit of a train wreck. And who knows, are these characters going to get incorporated into the future MCU? Are they going to be left in the dust? Who knows? Either way, I think we can all agree the movies that came out of it were extremely mixed. Some were absolute garbage. Others were tolerable. There was the odd okay movie in there. But you're going to hear my thoughts as we go through. So let's waste no more time and jump straight into my Steelbook collection, going over the Sony's Spider-Man universe. So back in 2018, we had the first movie in Sony's Spider-Man universe, although it's really weird to call it that, considering there is no Spider-Man, it's just villains and characters related to Spider-Man in some way. But we had, obviously, Venom 1 in 2018, starring Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock / Venom, and this is the Steelbook that we got. Now, all my Steelbooks, apart from the last one, but I'll get to that when we get to it, are in these clear protectors. Now, I have been asked in previous videos where I get my Steelbook protectors from. I get them from Steelbook Central. Really, really good, really, really reliable, and decently priced as well. And they protect the Steelbooks from dust and from scratching when they're on the shelf. They are really, really good, so I'd highly recommend. But this is the Venom 1 Steelbook. Just got a nice picture of the Venom symbiote on the front, his face, his teeth and tongue, and the scary eye, all in all its glory. And then there is the spine, which simply says Venom on the side. And then there is the back with the container that the symbiote was in. Really nice. So if I take it out of the protector, because these are the protectors I have, you can get a better look at the Steelbook, which is really, really nice. There we go. I did quite like the first Venom. It's not my favourite Venom. Upon rewatch, it is a little bit slow to start. Obviously, when Eddie does eventually get the symbiote, that's when the film properly kicks off for me. Until then, it is a bit slow. And Riot as the core villain was alright, but isn't my favourite, shall we say. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give Venom 1 now maybe, I don't know, a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6 out of 10. It's alright, it's not too bad. But there we are, the one that started it all, Venom 1 from 2018. So, then we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, we got straight into another Venom movie. Very nice looking Steelbook with Venom and Carnage duking it out in battle. Really, really nice, entangling each other. I love it. This is actually my favourite of the Venom films. I know for some people say this is their least favourite. But I quite like it. Some people say it's rushed, and it is very fast-paced, and it is quite a short movie overall. But I think that does the film some favours in a way. It's constantly got action going on. Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy and Carnage is brilliant. Tom Hardy does a great job again as Eddie Brock and Venom. And we got a real tease at the end of this that maybe Venom was coming in maybe a Spider-Man movie in the MCU, or merging with the MCU, because they tease that he gets taken to the MCU and we see Tom Holland's Spider-Man right at the end of Far From Home when his identity gets revealed. But yeah, so there is the front of the Steelbook. Then there is the spine on the Steelbook, which just says Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And then there is the back, which has another close-up shot of both Venom and Carnage. So if I take it then out of the protector, there is a better look at the steelbook. Really, really nice. I like that steelbook. There's the spine again. And then there is the back. And if we open it up, there is a full wraparound of the steelbook. It would have been nice to have something a bit different on the back, I'm not going to lie. But it is still a really nice steelbook and does what it says on the tin. And then there is the disc artwork inside. Got some actual disc artwork this time, whereas the first Venom didn't really have that. But yeah, I quite like this steelbook. And the film, for me, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Look, let's be real, it's the only one of these films that's getting higher than a 7 out of 10. The rest are not the best, to be honest. But that is Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So then we got to skip ahead then to a film that was delayed and a film that has been memed and a movie that is saved not by its core protagonist, but actually by the antagonist. You all know the film I'm on about. You know what I mean when I say it's been memed to death. I'm obviously talking about Morbius. Yeah, the Morbius movie. It's Morbin time. My God, this movie was an absolute car crash. But in one of the best possible ways. This movie is so bad that it is so entertaining due to Matt Smith's Milo. He is the best character in this movie. The dance scene, you know the one I'm on about with Matt Smith. It is fantastic. I've watched it time and time again. Is this movie a good movie? No, it's not. It's a terrible movie. Jared Leto, he did all right, but he wasn't great. You know, did this movie deserve the hate that it got? To a degree, yeah, I think it does. But I do find some enjoyment in watching it, you know, in a strange way. But yeah, it's not a great movie. The steelbook looks nice, though. I quite like that, with Morbius on the front. Then there is the spine, although the spine does annoy me a little bit because the title is not center. It should have been more like in the middle by here, but it's like leaning down. So it looks a bit odd on your shelf. I don't really know why they did that. And then there is the back, just a bunch of bats, really. I mean, it says what the movie's about, pretty much, you know, vampires, you know. If I take it then out, there is the full wraparound. Again, I will say the artwork is not too bad. It is pretty good. And then there is the inside of the steelbook. Got a nice picture of Morbius inside. And then the disc artwork. There is actual disc artwork on said steelbook. So if I take the one disc out there, you can see the other artwork there. Yep. Again, Morbius, I'd probably give it maybe like a 5 out of 10. It's average. It's mostly due to Matt Smith's performance that gives it that score for me. But that is Morbius. However, the complete and utter failure of Sony's Spider-Man universe, and I think everyone agrees that this is probably the worst one, came with the film Madam Web. Yeah, if you've watched my ranking of every movie that I saw in 2024, you know that Madam Web was pretty much bottom of the barrel. It's not a good movie. It was a car crash, a train wreck, everything all in one go. The steelbook says it all. It's plain, it's boring, it's dull. The villain was practically dubbed over the entire time. It was embarrassing to listen to. Nothing that he says matches what's coming out of his mouth. The Spider Women that we were promised were barely in the movie. They were in all the scenes they were in were shown in the trailers. It was rubbish. All the stars during interviews were joking about this movie, not paying it enough attention, didn't show that they cared. I don't know what was going on, but this movie was just, not great. So if I take this out of the steelbook protector so you can actually see the steelbook, not that there's an awful lot to see, it is probably my least favourite of the steelbooks. Not because I'm not a big fan of the film, but just because I think it's not a very good designed steelbook, if I'm honest. Just a simple picture of Madam Web, the city below there, some webs coming out the top of her there. Then there's the spine, just simply says Madam Web. I don't mind the red on white. I think that is pretty cool and does suit the character. But then look at that, it's just boring webbing. You could have had something else there. Some spiders, maybe the girls that were there. I think they should have been on the front, really, either side of Madam Web. Had all the girls there. Maybe the villain in the background, or have the villain on the back. But yeah, if I then open up the Steelbook, yeah, inside I do have the J card that it came with, because I do that sometimes with the Steelbooks. I put the J card inside. Then behind you do actually have the villain by there, the hilarious villain. Then you got the Spider Women on the disc artwork. Yeah, pretty plain Steelbook, if I'm honest. Yeah, if I'm honest, I give this film maybe, I don't know, a 3. If I'm being generous, a 4. But yeah, a 3 or a 4. It is the weakest in the Sony universe movies, if I'm honest. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I got the Steelbook mainly for completion's sake. As I know, I'm fairly certain a lot of collectors have done that as well. Then we get to the final in the Venom trilogy. We've got Venom: The Last Dance. I quite like this Steelbook, actually. I thought this was quite a nice looking Steelbook. I like the orange and the red, the fiery stuff, and the symbiote getting torn apart. Yeah, Tom Hardy's swan song as Venom. But this film was a bit of a disappointment. It promised, well, it didn't promise a lot, but it sort of teased a lot of stuff, which never ended up coming. You know, like, and I think the main problem this film has is there's no real threat, because your core threat is trapped, and we don't know if we're ever going to actually see that threat again, or whether that threat will ever play a role. The main villain of this was Null, who was after the codex inside of Venom and Eddie in order to free himself, but he never actually gets freed. It's, yeah, so you never really feel like they're actually in danger, really. You don't actually see an awful lot of Venom because he's not allowed to transform. And when this is your last Venom film, you need to really show off your core character, not strip them back so you can't see them at all. So I thought that was a bit of a mistake. But let me take the Steelbook outside of the protector so that you can see what the Steelbook looks like in full. If I take it off, there we go. Take it out of the little flimsy J card that it's got, which is on there with sellotape. So here we are. There is the Steelbook. Again, I quite like it. The fiery colours I think is pretty good. There we are. And then there is the spine. Venom: The Last Dance. It does sort of now not match the other two because they've got the plain black within the white text, but now this is more colourful. But it is what it is. Could have done a little bit more with the back. Could have had another image there. Maybe you could have actually had Eddie, since it's the symbiote getting torn apart. Eddie on the one side. Venom on the one side, Eddie on the other. That would have been an interesting idea. And then on the inside, there you go. Nice image there. I believe that's Eddie. Yeah, Eddie riding the possessed symbiote horse. And then you got some nice disc artwork there of Venom. Really nice. And that is Venom: The Last Dance, which was, you know, until recently, the final Steelbook to be released in Sony's Spider-Man universe. However, about a week ago, we did get a release of the latest and the last one in the line of Sony's Spider-Man universe, and that is Kraven the Hunter. Now, as you can see, yeah, I actually haven't opened this, and I thought, since I was doing a Sony Spider-Man Steelbook collection, I thought, why not save this and actually do an unboxing at the same time? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slightly peel this, and then I'll come back and I'll do a mini unboxing of the Kraven the Hunter Steelbook and add it to my Sony's Spider-Man Universe Steelbook collection. Okay, like I said, I'm going to do a little unboxing now of the Kraven the Hunter Steelbook, which does look alright, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I decided to wait until now to do it. So let's just peel off the cellophane, the protective wrap, and have a little look at what this Steelbook looks like, and then I can add it to my Steelbook collection. Okie dokie. So it's got the flimsy J cards again with the sellotape on the top. There we are. Kraven looking quite menacing, actually, on there, to be fair. I do like the red, I must admit that. Then the spine, you know, got the red strip with Kraven the Hunter written down the side. And then there is the back. What's my thoughts on Kraven the Hunter as a movie? I mean, I did do a review on the movie, so you can check that out. And obviously, you can see where I ranked it in my ranking of every movie of 2024. Look, it wasn't a great movie. It's better than Madam Web, put it that way. So it's not the worst in the Sony universe. But again, a little bit of a letdown, a little bit silly. Just watch my review and my thoughts in my 2024 ranking video to know my full thoughts on it. But here it is, Kraven the Hunter on 4K Steelbook, the final addition to the lineup of Sony's Spider-Man-less universe. There we go, so you got Kraven and you got a bunch of skulls, obviously representing all the kills he's had, which, yeah, fair enough, is interesting. And then there's the back with the iconic picture of him on the throne in his iconic outfit, which he wears for the last 2 minutes of the movie. Which, again, Sony, I don't know why you do this all the time. You know, you tease your core star, like you did it in Madam Web as well, where she gets her iconic outfit in the last 30 seconds of the movie. I don't know why you do this. You know, this is how we want to see Kraven, so I don't get it. I don't get it, especially if we're never going to see this version again. It was pointless, if I'm honest. But let's open up the Steelbook, and I do have a loose disc, but I've just slid that back in. So there is the interior artwork, nothing too special. And then we got some disc artwork here, which is pretty much the exact same as the Steelbook cover. So there's Kraven's face on the front. And then the other disc simply has him sat on that throne, like we saw on the back of the Steelbook. And then behind, we've just got a bunch of bones. And then, yeah, there is that side of the Steelbook. You know, pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple. You know, nothing much to it. It's an okay-looking Steelbook, but okay-looking Steelbook for probably a movie that, again, I'd maybe give maybe a 5, a 4 or 5. It was all right. Nothing too special. Again, these movies haven't blown me away. The only one that I really enjoyed was Venom Let There Be Carnage, and then just Matt Smith in Morbius. I think that's, you know, kind of it. I mean, Aaron Taylor-Johnson does do a really good job as Kraven. I will say his performance was pretty good. And I like the design of Chameleon. Rhino was a bit silly. I said in my review there was a moment where Rhino makes a really weird noise, and I don't understand why he does that. It's like a weird bird noise. I don't get it. But yeah, there is Kraven the Hunter. So if I grab all of my Sony Spider-Man Steelbooks now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have got, if I run through them one more time, we have got Venom. We have got Venom Let There Be Carnage. We have got It's Morbin Time Morbius. We have got the dreaded Madam Web. We have got Venom, The Last Dance. And finally, Kraven the Hunter. So put them all side by side. There is what they might look like on your shelf. You know, side by side of all the spines. There we are. There is the complete collection of the Sony Spider-Man universe on Steelbook. So, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like it by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below. Have you got any of these movies on Steelbook? And what was your overall thoughts on Sony's Spider-Man universe? Now, in terms of what Steelbook Collection I might do next, well, since I've done the Sony universe, since I've done the MCU, I might now round off the Marvel ones now and do everything else Marvel that I've got on Steelbook. So films like the Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, the Spider-Man movies, anything like that, I might round off now in a third Steelbook collection, which will come in the future. But like I said, please like this video by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below and subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is the Nerdy Grail signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.